Their MO was they would drug them. So they would bring food over, like and say,
Wow.
here's some food or here's a cup of coffee or whatever, and have some. And then they would, drive them to their doctor's appointments or wherever the case is. And once they pass out, they would put them on the street and they would run them over.
Jesus Christ.
Because if you think about it, like, two elderly women, you don't really think about them as like, oh, life insurance fraudsters and more than anything, murderers. Like,
Listen, appearances are deceiving.
yeah.
So,
During her trial for these cases, one of the character witnesses actually against her was her hairdresser.
oh wow.
And her hairdresser was like, she actually genuinely said, yes, I'm an evil person.
But okay, so again, at what point did they turn to homeless men? That's just nuts to me.
No one really knows when they started doing it. For sure, the one thing that they're aware of is it's really hard for homeless people, even with the investigators. Like it's not like they have they have to look for them every time as a witness. To if they knew this woman, if
Right.
it's hard to like pinpoint where they are.
Right, they're generally
And also,
of the records.
right, and a lot of the vagrant people are just very weary of cops too.
Mm.
So if you think about it, the fact that the insurance adjuster was the one who was like, hey, something is wrong here, because again, the cops were ready to close the case and say it was an accident, because it looked like an accident, but it's not. It was the insurance adjuster that pointed out the discrepancies because of the paperwork that he had. Because he had that access, he was able to, like, I want to set up a meeting with the cops, and I wanted to show them this and this and this, and they were able to
Yeah.
figure that out. And it was also the police who was able to figure out looked for CCTV cameras where the murder happened, just determined to know, or even just to see if someone saw, just a
Did they
witness.
find it?
They
CCTV?
did. They did a CCTV.
Only after they've been pushed
Right.
by the
Yeah.
adjuster to come on,
Yeah.
do a little investigating.
Yeah.
And it's sad, right? Because homeless people sometimes they could disappear and people are like, oh, they must have just gone somewhere else and no
Yeah.
questions asked, right?
Yeah.
So it's in a way understandable why they wouldn't investigate it as hard, but it also shows how
That's why
unfortunately
they were
not getting the
victims.
importance that somebody else would have gotten if they were a resident and they had family asking around for them. So it's pretty sad, and I see why they would target them as a person that they could exploit to make money. Honestly,
It's easy target, because if you think about it, if you were to be homeless and you have these two old women who claim that they're from the church, they're this is what they just believe, and here's some food, really really gaining the trust of these people, but knowingly they know what they want to do to them to the end. That to me is like crazy. Like even
right?
like even if let's say they befriended them, and you would think that, oh, this person is a very nice person and I don't want to harm them, the fact that they pushed through and killed these people for money, to me that's insane.
Absolutely. So their MO was they would run them over.
So their MO was they would drug them. So they would bring food over, like and say, here's some food or here's a cup of coffee or whatever, and have some. And then they would, drive them to their doctor's appointments or wherever the case is. And once they pass out, they would put them on the street and they would run them over.
Jesus Christ. And in a regular area of the city, or they had like, I don't know, like private land or something?
No, just a back alley.
Jesus. That's nuts. I mean, it is LA. LA is a big place, and they have, unfortunately, a homeless problem. So
Yeah.
I guess there's areas where they're like, they would know where to do that. But okay, so that's nuts. So they would run them, drug them, put them down, run them over. The person never even knew what was happening, what was coming, and then all of a sudden they die. And then I'm curious about the paperwork aspect of this. So you mentioned earlier that they must have been aware that they're getting a policy taken out of them,
Yes. So
right?
they are aware. So that's exactly how you explained it, that these people, these men were thankful, and they were very like, you know, these women have been a great addition to my life, that who else would be my beneficiary but them.
Mm.
So that would happen. But it would only take one signature from them. It could be with whatever. What this woman would do, it was just one signature, and once they have that signature, they would turn it into rubber stamps.
Wow.
And from the rubber stamps, they could just apply to any
Wow.
insurance. So it's not like they signed
That's
23
messed up.
life insurance policies. They just took one signature, whatever it was, and they would use rubber stamps to do that.
So now I'm curious about the paper trail, right? Because as we discussed, you know, the fact that they're homeless eliminates some of that paper trail, but there is a paper trail for how this policy came to be, who the agent who wrote this policy is, who the beneficiary is, which of course in this case is them. And at no point that came up as a shady thing that the detectives should investigate. Like at no point was that like, okay, first time, you know, stuff happens, 15th time.
No.